What's up, everybody? Welcome to Gamescast Now, episode 48, topic 2. I'm Alex, and this is our conversational gaming show, a show that airs every single week, Tuesday and Thursday over these summer months, where we talk about random things in gaming. We've been having these topics talking about E3, kind of the leftover stuff from E3, really over the past couple weeks since E3 ended. I've had a couple things I kind of wanted to go back to. On Tuesday, we talked about Death Stranding, something that we had talked about during E3. For this video, I want to talk about Bloodborne 2 again. Now, around a month before E3 happened, I made a video about Bloodborne 2 saying how I believe that this game is going to be announced, or will it be announced at E3 2018. I said yes, and I had talked about that. And now I want to go back and I want to talk about Bloodborne 2 again with the fact that it wasn't announced at E3 2018 and what that means and when I think we'll see it. So here's the thing. I was severely disappointed. I'm just going to throw that out there. I was honestly going into E3 expecting quite a few things. We've talked about these things over the past couple episodes of Gamescast Now. Square Enix's Avengers game was something that I fully was going into E3 thinking, oh, we'd see this. I was ready to make a video on it. You know, we had planned that. So I was ready to see that. I really believed we would have seen Rocksteady's game, the Superman, Justice League, whatever. I really thought we'd see it. I thought we'd get like a Borderlands 3 announcement. I thought we would get Bloodborne 2 from Sony. So this was one of the main things from Sony that I thought we would receive was Bloodborne 2. Because I feel like, even now, it's still being worked on. It's still happening. They just didn't show it. Now, we did get a little bit from software. We got a game at the Xbox conference, Microsoft's conference, that was kind of promoted as an Xbox exclusive, which Xbox did quite a lot this year, as they always do. Say exclusive, world premiere, but then later do you find out that it's actually coming out to all consoles. So they had a game that came out, or that's coming out from software, a game that's said to be, or at least from the producer, said to be harder than Bloodborne and the Dark Souls series. That's awesome, and now, that's coming out to PlayStation, to all consoles, which is great. That's a From Software game. I don't think that changes my mind whatsoever that there's also a Bloodborne 2. I don't think it affects anything, the fact that From Software is working on a game that's multi-consoled, and then they're also working on a Sony exclusive. Again, Bloodborne is Sony's IP. That's Sony's property, and it sold extremely well. It did extremely well. People were really, really excited and really happy with how that game turned out. It was definitely a win. And don't forget, Sony had this, and I talked about this again in the past video, Sony had this with Demon's Souls back in the PS3, and they didn't do anything with it. And then, you know, obviously they go on and they make the Dark Souls series. Obviously, I think Sony would want that back. If you could go back in time and give Sony the Dark Souls franchise for, you know, as an exclusive just for PlayStation, that's a massive, massive thing. That's a massive, massive win. And they lost that. I assume they had the chance, just like they had the chance with Insomniac, and they've had the chance before with other developers, and they lost it. And funny enough, you know, Insomniac has come back, you know, with Spider-Man, and you know how they started with Resistance and so on and so on. But Sony passed up that opportunity. And with Bloodborne, I don't think they're stupid enough to do it again. Bloodborne is theirs, and so there is a part of From Software that, you know, like, this is going to happen. From Software will make a Bloodborne 2. Now, again, I'm very surprised this didn't happen, because this has been rumored for over a year. This was actually rumored that it was going to be announced last E3. And so this has been like 2 conferences now where the rumors were very, very heavy we would get a Bloodborne 2. It became pretty obvious we weren't going to get one as the conference went on, and they had split it up into the 4 main games, but then they also had different announcements and different segments where they did announce new things. Obviously, we got a Neo 2, so there were definitely announcements, and so there was maybe a little hope Bloodborne 2 would get announced, but the way the conference was structured, it just wasn't going to make sense for it. Now, here's the thing. I think Bloodborne 2 is being made. I think it's still coming out relatively soon, and I think it's going to be announced at PSX. I don't see another spot. Now, there is the Gamescom over the summer. There is the Japanese kind of an expo in Japan, where we're probably going to see a lot of Kingdom Hearts, a lot of Japanese-centric games, which we could see a Bloodborne 2. But at the same time, we also have Paris Games Week. So we do have more conferences. We have more conferences left before the end of this year. But at the same time, it's Sony's exclusive, and Sony, over the last couple years, has now really been known to show up big at E3 and then PSX, and that's it. Those 2. They've bowed out of Gamescom. I like that strategy, honestly, because they can just show up, show everything they got walk away and not have to, kind of scramble for these side lower announcements for these other conferences to try and make them something special. Now, it kind of gives the other the other publishers, like Microsoft and all that stuff, an edge in the other conferences because they can all show up and they can announce new things. But at the same time, you really don't have anything if you announce new things 5 times a year. So when it comes to Bloodborne 2, I feel like Sony is holding their punch. They're pulling it back and they're saying, we're going to wait this out and we're going to do this at PSX. When we have our fans with our crowd, we're probably going to show more Last of Us Part 2. We're going to show Death Stranding. We're going to show all the stuff we showed at E3 except for Spider-Man. And then we're going to show you some new stuff. Here's Bloodborne 2. Here's maybe Horizon Zero Dawn 2. Maybe Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is next E3. I think it is. Actually, that's my prediction. But I think that's how they're going to do it. That would be a really nice PSX announcement, is that Bloodborne 2 is happening. It also doesn't push off how far away I think the game is. I honestly thought the game could have been a fall game, and only if it was announced at E3, obviously. And with it being not announced at E3, this game's not coming out in the fall. However, if it gets announced at PSX, I think it's a next year game. I think it's probably a fall of next year game. But again, I've talked about this a lot on Gamescom. I think Sony has structured next year to be Days Gone, The Last of Us Part 2, and then Bloodborne 2 / Death Stranding, or Bloodborne 2 / Ghost of Tsushima. That's what I think. And so the Ghost of Tsushima or Death Stranding is interchangeable. I think one of them is going to come out next fall. We'll see. But I think Bloodborne 2 is kind of stamped in as the game that they're expecting to come out next fall. I truly believe that. And I think, obviously, in order to get that, we're going to need this announcement relatively soon. They got to confirm that they're doing it. But I truly think they will. So I'm very excited for Bloodborne 2. I'm disappointed we didn't get to see it at E3, but I'm very much expecting it to be announced relatively soon. I don't think it's just going to happen. I could be wrong. They could just put out a general announcement that this game is happening. But I feel like Sony's going to want to show this off at a conference and talk about it at a conference. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be PSX 2018. So let me know in the comments below, guys, what do you think of Bloodborne 2? When's it going to get announced? When's it going to be released? Or does it even exist? Let me know. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now, for more videos like this. We do these episodes, again, of Gamescast Now every single week. Next week, we'll be back for topics on Tuesday and Thursday. I hope to see you guys there.